back to another powerful episode of Mindful Journey. I'm your host Avik, and today's conversation is all about something that I would say we all struggle with. It's how to bring our awareness back to what truly matters, especially in a world that constantly pulls us in a thousand directions. Yes, and hey, dear listeners, our guest today is someone who has dedicated her life to helping people reconnect with themselves in the deepest way possible. So please welcome Dr. Evette Rose. Welcome to the show.
Wonderful, Avik. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And I am thrilled to be here with you today.
Amazing. I'm really happy that you joined our show. And this is the second time we are connecting. And it's really awesome to, discuss the topics when we are together. I mean, it's really great. So, but before we do
Yeah.
that, yeah, so but before
Okay.
we do that, I'd love to introduce you to all the listeners. It's very important that listeners also understand with whom we are talking today. Yeah. So, dear listeners, Dr. Evette Rose is an internationally renowned holistic counselor, trauma recovery expert, and the author of 21 books. Yes, you heard that correct. So, including the global bestseller Metaphysical Anatomy, Your Body is Talking. Are you listening? So, her work has transformed lives in more than 43 countries, and she is the founder of powerful healing modalities like metaphysical anatomy technique, metapsychology, coaching, and also integrative soulful therapy. Now, you might be wondering, like, what makes her work stand out? So, well, let me tell you, her work stand out is like her ability to decode the hidden emotional roots behind the physical pain and the chronic symptoms, which showing us that our body has been trying to speak to us all along. And today she will help us to explore not only like how awareness heals, but also how we can bring it back when it feels scattered, lost, or hijacked by the stress. So I'll not take much of your time, dear listeners. Let's get started and get ready for a conversation that blends science, soul, and the real life stories. So welcome to the show again, Dr. Evett.
Wonderful, Avik. That was such a very, very nice red carpet experience to be introduced. Thank you so much for that. You did so great.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's the truth, definitely. And and so awareness. I guess it's the most important segment into this. So you
Yes.
often say that the body is always talking. And I agree as well, definitely. And most of us aren't listening. So,
hmm
why is awareness such a kind of crucial first step in healing? And uh, also, what do you say? Like, what does it really mean to bring awareness back to what matters?
That is such a great question, Avik. I always say, and I don't quote me. I don't know who the author of this quote is, but someone once said, awareness of a problem is a problem half solved. The other half is now just taking the right action to address the challenge that you're having. Now, the challenge that I'm seeing these days is that most people, we think we have awareness of what the issue is because we almost treat it like the pain model. When we bump our toe, we feel pain, and then we know that we have pain because we bumped our toe. It's a very simple cause and effect. We know what the cause is. But the challenge now is when we feel something, when we experience, for example, discomfort, we are discomfort avoidant. We literally subconsciously, in most cases, build our life around on negative emotions, negative sensations. We don't like feeling that, right? And I'm sure that you can relate to that as well. I mean, even I can. If I feel depressed, if I feel bad, I want to do something immediately to get relief from it and to counterbalance it, right? We want that relief immediately. And this is where the trap comes in because it's that knee jerk reaction that we have towards, say, negative emotions or negative experiences, maybe negative sensations in the body. And then by not just taking that breath, pausing, slowing down, coming back to the body, and really truly deciphering what is really going on. The body is not going to make you feel unpleasant feelings or sensations for absolutely no reason. It has no business in doing that. It's your body's sole purpose to keep you alive and to help you to live your best life. There's no benefit in the body to live in a distressed state because it will damage the body over time if it's not corrected. We know that. We know what stress and a compromised immune system can do to our health long term. So the body doesn't communicate in English the way that you and I can easily understand each other. If we have a misunderstanding, then I can just simply ask you, Avik, you know what? This happened and I'm not quite sure I understood. Can you please explain to me, did I understand that correctly? And then you explain it to me and then the problem is solved. So the body communicates through sensations, emotions. So it has such a different language in how it communicates to us. And often, as you so beautifully started this podcast, was with awareness, right? So awareness is needed in order to really truly feel, understand, listen, and sense what it is that the body is trying to convey. What is it trying to communicate to us? Now, when we are in states of stress, fight or flight, our focus is hyper vigilantly set on dealing with the immediate stress or threat that the body is perceiving, right? there's it doesn't shift the awareness to maybe that back pain that just started or that headache that just started or maybe that nauseous feeling in your stomach. Maybe you know it's there but you're not really even paying attention to it because you're dealing with an immediate stress or something that's causing you anxiety. And this is where our awareness is now being pulled into. So it's hard for us to multitask in that way. We can pretty much just focus on one thing at a time. Even though we would like to think it can be multiple, we can, but it doesn't mean that your 100% focus is going to be in these other five avenues that you might also now be focused on, right? So, and that causes the awareness and the sensitivity for our awareness to be decreased. And it's in that moment where it's becoming decreased where it's so much harder than to pick up on these faint, gentle, soft signals that's coming through from the body. And if something is bothering us, we've become such a pill popping nation that pop a pill, have a beer, have a glass of wine, let's go out and party, let's just forget about it. Right. So there's these instant gratifications that we tend to lean on like crutches a little bit more than what's probably healthy, right? Because the body's actually trying to speak to us. So that awareness, we all have it. We all have the capacity to feel and sense and understand what is going on in our body, including decoding the body's unique language. It's just a matter of can you slow down enough to hear and understand the sensations that's coming forward? But you know what, Avik, what it now also triggers? It begs another question. And that is, do you feel safe enough to slow down, quiet down, and to understand and feel and sense what the body's trying to say? There's a reason why we are in this state of distress. Number one, there's something clearly that feels urgent, it feels threatening, and we feel this need to deal with it immediately. I understand that sometimes we do have really urgent things that need to be done. We all go through that. But what I'm seeing is that people don't come out of that urgency, they stay in it. And when we're stuck in that urgency, this is where it can easily become a lifestyle. If we're not careful, that urgency, being on the go the whole time, riding off of all that adrenaline and cortisol, we feel alive, we're fighting our way forward until we hit our burnout. And then we wonder, what went wrong? Why am I suddenly so depressed? Where's this anxiety suddenly coming from? Why is my health falling apart? Right? So that fine gap between a pain point, tension in the body, maybe nausea. I mean, this is just some symptoms. It can be absolutely anything.
Yep.
And then not catching that early enough. And instead, then also, if we do catch it,
Mhm.
what do we do? What do you do when you find something is not 100% going right in your body? What do you do, Avik?
Yeah, so I mean, when something is not going as I thought of, or maybe which I wanted to. But then for me, which works the best is I feel like somehow there is something which I'm not following. So I try to focus more. I try to think about, or maybe I keep myself into more of kind of you can say self-based understandings, learnings, and meditation, which is the very important. So which helps me to obviously calm myself, and when we calm our body, then we realize like what is actually happening, or maybe we get some hint as well.
Exactly. So the challenge now is when and we interpret these signals and these signs differently. But for people who might be really stressed, who might be in that stuck in that state of urgency, oh my goodness, my body's doing something wrong. What is wrong? It's malfunctioning. So you see, that it's a simple reaction, but just that reaction alone is now setting the stage for how we are going to deal with this symptom. And when you go into something going, well, what is the problem? Why are you going wrong? We're going in there with a state of rigidity. Have you ever tried to meditate and feel in the flow and feel fully connected in your heart center when you feel rigid?
Yeah. Yes.
Have you tried? But it's hard, isn't it? It's hard
Hmm.
to feel connected, that to meditate when you feel that sense of rigidity, which is what's triggered if we think of the body. Well, what are you doing wrong now? Right? We look at the negative side. We don't flip to the wow, okay, so something's going on. I'm really curious. Let's see what is there. This is now a more compassionate, gentler approach. And this puts you into problem solving mode in a positive way. In a positive way. These two mindsets might sound, well, what is the problem? And let's see what is the issue. It might sound very similar. But let me tell you, one feels heavier and more negative, where the other one actually feels a lot more positive and a lot more optimistic.
Exactly.
And just this simple mindset can really change how we are going to address the problem. Because if you go in there thinking, well, what is the problem? That person is more than likely going to try and get an escape with a instant gratification, like a quick solution. So they might have a beer, they might have a pill, they might not even want to go to the doctor, and they'll delay it until the problem becomes really loud. Whereas the person who is more curious will be like, oh, I didn't really have that problem yesterday. Did I have that problem before? And maybe what was I doing at the
Mm.
time when that happened? Or what did I eat? Maybe I'm allergic to something. Huh, how interesting. And they take note of it and maybe go to the doctor if it's serious enough, if they feel the urgency for that. So this is where mindset and awareness in terms of when the body tries to communicate to us is going to make your healing journey either constructive or destructive. And I have seen that time and again with my students, with my clients, and even I have done that. And I myself have also seen the incredible difference between the two. Because when we go into a state of awareness and connecting to the body, feeling that optimism, okay, there is something that's hurting. It's not pleasant. How can I now curiously address this? It makes me feel more willing to try healthy solutions that could help. Whereas the negative mindset one, you're going to look for that instant gratification. And you know what is the difference between the two, apart from the positive and the negative? The negative one is going to there's a very high chance that you're going to apply the wrong solution to the problem. Whereas if you're curious, you're optimistic, well, there could be a potential good solution. Let's check in with the body. Let me see what is really going on.
Yeah.
Just pausing that few minutes, just genuinely caring about your own health and well-being, that alone can actually result in you applying the right solution to the problem, meaning
Mm.
you get to resolve it faster instead of, on the negative flip side, perpetuate the problem, right? So this is where it makes, and can you see the difference? It's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. It's
And
really
just yeah.
yeah, yeah, please, 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 please. Yeah.
No, no, I just wanted to to just confirm that because the challenge is,
Mm.
like I said earlier, how we are so I mean we're negative, we're quite negatively inclined. We're very mistrusting, and like I
Mm.
said earlier, we're very discomfort avoidant.
Exactly.
It's sometimes in that place of discomfort where we actually have our biggest breakthrough because the body is telling us that
Mm.
there's the challenge, and instead
Exactly.
we see a problem. And it's so important to change our mindset around that and realize, okay, it feels problematic, but let's not call it a problem. It feels problematic,
Mm.
but let's go and investigate, how can I bring balance back into my body? Can you feel also just the difference in that attitude and what a loving connection and relationship you're also now rebuilding with your body?
Mm.
Because people who just go into these quick fixes, you can very clearly see that they don't have a healthy and positive relationship with their body. Listen,
Yes.
your body has been with you the day that you were born and is going to be with you until your last breath. Let's
Yes.
look after it. Let's look after it. Your body is your biggest advocate. There's no one in this life that's going to cheer harder for you than your body because it is in its absolute interest to keep you alive. That is its only job.
Yes.
Everything else is a bonus. You can't have the love that you want or the money that you want or drive all this, success and career if your body is falling apart. If you don't have your health, you have nothing.
Yes.
You can have
True.
$1 million in that bank account. If your health flips upside down, someone is going to spend all that money that you work for. Someone is going to come and take your computer and they're going to take over your job and they're going to take all the
Mm.
credit for the work that you did.
Yes.
And where's your gratification in that? Right? So it's so important with such a simple tweak, such as awareness, that you can bring just that little bit of awareness back to you, your body. What does my body need? Learning and understanding through different quirks and sensations and maybe bloating here and there, maybe a headache here and there. Okay, that feels a little bit uncomfortable, but I would like to know, body, why are we doing this? Let's see what is happening. Let's see where am I out of balance that is causing you this distress? Because sometimes what we're doing things, we're living our life a certain way, we're thinking a certain way that is causing stress to the body. But because our focus is shifted to urgent matters and fight or flight and stress, we are not able to properly digest what else could be going on in the body.
Exactly.
So it's so much more important, especially for people who have highly stressful jobs. For me, I would say my job can sometimes be quite stressful, and I make a point of it in the morning when I wake up. I check in with
Mm.
myself and I'm asking, and I'm like, "Hey, Evette, so how are you doing today? How are we feeling? Okay, so this is what's going on." And I take note of it. I listen to my body. I feel the feelings. I feel the sensations. I listen to what's going on in my mind and the thoughts that's going back and forth. And I do the exact same thing at night. How do I feel? What did I not process during the day? What could I maybe have missed because I was in my urgency state? What was my body maybe trying to tell me when I had that wave of maybe my stomach felt maybe a little bit upset, or I felt a little bit, anxious. All right, let's backtrack a little bit and let's just drop into that. Drop into that anxiety. Speak to it like it's a little living force in itself, because at the end of the day, it's just an experience. It's not something that can harm you or hurt you. It feels incredibly intense because it feels like it's happening to us. But really, what it is a passing experience. And sometimes these passing experiences become stuck because we don't shift our awareness to the body and sometimes where it needs to be, so that the message can be heard, so that that energy can be released and life can go on. And so,
Very
right? So because of that urgent state, we go, go, go. And that also means we suppress, suppress, suppress until we start to have panic attacks, fatigue, burnout,
true.
adrenal fatigue, autoimmune problems. We start getting the flu. We're always sick. There's always something happening. So that's the power of awareness.
Exactly. Wow. I really love that. I mean, it's awareness is something which is so much important. Like, I really love that. But I mean, I really love that. I didn't want to interrupt in between. So, uh, because what I feel like it makes awareness feel less like kind of uh, core and more like a gift. The moment to pause,
Right.
reconnect with what's already inside us. So, wow, awesome. Lovely.
Yeah.
And also like we most of us have heard about the trauma survival state as well. So uh, from there I would love to bring this up that you grew up in a very difficult circumstances, and
Mhm.
also that you have shared openly about how trauma shaped your early life. So
Right.
I mean, from that perspective, for the listeners who maybe they are into that kind of situations, or maybe they're going through that kind of situation. So, if you can guide, like, how do unresolved traumas pull our awareness away from what matters in the present? I guess that would be helpful.
Right. So that's a great question. And I think something that I realized for myself as well, what was happening with me, was when we are in this constant state of fight or flight, especially when this is something that has now been happening to you since your early life,
Hmm.
especially before the age of 3, we are now in the right hemisphere of the brain. This is a very gestalt way of living. We're fully in the nervous system. Everything is about, the vagal tone, eye contact. Is it kind? Is it nice? It's about touch. It's about how we are handled. And then later on, the left side of the brain starts to mature, where we can start to analyze our feelings, so we can start to negotiate and we can start to push back. Now,
Yeah.
that those first 3 years are vital, because this is where a lot of somatic nervous system stress responses are recorded. And then the rest of our life continues to add and add and add to that foundation. So if that first 3 years was highly stressful, and I mean, even afterwards, it doesn't have to be the first 3 years, but I'm just giving an example here of how trauma can already start in our very early years. And we sometimes overlook that. And we don't also remember a lot of that time as well, right? So it's important to learn to listen what could be these somatic messages. That's why that awareness is so incredibly important. But to get back to the question that you asked, so now we progress later on through life. Let's say your childhood was maybe also stressful, school was maybe stressful. It could be that there was a sibling that was always mean to you. Maybe mom and dad was highly stressed, and the environment was felt very hostile. And now you continue to mature. That stress response of my environment is unsafe, people feel unsafe, this constant feedback is now causing an incredible amount of stress, because now the body stays in that fight or flight response. The amygdala can actually become enlarged, the hippocampus can shrink, which is our emotional memory center. And then the prefrontal cortex, which helps us with decision making and to regulate ourselves as well, becomes impaired. So now we're sitting with a wired, oversensitive amygdala. And that amygdala is constantly scanning for danger. And it can even misinterpret a micro expression on someone's face. Maybe someone was sitting there and they thought of something funny and their eyes moved just a certain way, and then you think, wow, they must think I did something funny, or now I feel embarrassed, right? This is someone who's highly sensitive. That's an overactive amygdala. It will take everything as a threat. People listen to defend themselves. They don't listen to understand when someone is talking. They look at the person's body language and constantly taking that as feedback about they are doing something wrong or that person might not like me. It's very negative orientated. So the first thing that helped me in my life, and that was me, right? I'm describing Evette now when she was younger. That's exactly what I went through and what I felt. And one of the best things that I did was to learn to actually come back in the body, because most people who have had such an incredibly stressful upbringing tend to struggle with dissociation. And that means we feel like we're out of the body. We feel like this fish bowl, this fish in a bowl, and the world is happening outside of us. It's like we just can't reach people. It's like they feel out of reach. Is to come back by using your breath. And what I mean by saying that is sit in a quiet space and just notice your breathing. That's it. Just notice your breathing for just 4 minutes. And just for anyone else who are empaths, meaning you are highly sensitive to people in your environment, meditation is actually not good for empaths. Meditation must be done with a second sensory tool, such as maybe having beads in your hands that you can rub or touch, or maybe have your hand in a bucket of water that you can just swirl every now and then while you're doing your meditation, or walk while you're meditating. So just keep that in mind. For those of you who meditate and you feel that your anxiety goes through the roof when you do that, that that's an empath right there. So do a second activity that's really gentle with your meditation. But the point is, come back to your breath. That is a very safe way to start to bring your awareness very gently back into the body, into the here and now, which is in reality the very place and space that most people spend their life avoiding, not consciously, but subconsciously. So, this is the best advice. It's so simple and it's free. It's your breath. It's just focusing on your breathing, just as you're inhaling and exhaling. That's all that you have to do. Because also by breathing consistently, your breath, it regulates your vagus nerve. And if your vagus nerve is regulated, all your organs are going to relax and settle down. And you'll find yourself slowly starting to ease from that sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system. And what I like to do is to gently then imagine with meditation that you have roots from your feet growing down into the core of the earth. This helps you to bring your awareness also back into the body in a very gentle and safe way. So I hope that helps. I hope that this is already just such an excellent step for people to take. And I do this when I get stressed. When I do the breathing, and just for anyone else, maybe as an extra added tip, when you do the breathing, and maybe you're doing it when you're feeling highly anxious, when you feel really maybe scared, maybe you feel really fearful, or you feel like that, especially one that I struggled with a lot in the past was just feeling completely out of control. I just felt everything in my life was just spiraling out of control. I would focus while I'm doing the breath work, meaning just a simple breathing in and out. I would notice where in my body do I feel that stress. And then I will allow that anxiety or that stress, I will bring my full focus and awareness to that. And I'll just say, you know what? I have awareness of you and I allow you to be there. And the more that you allow it to be there, you know what's going to happen? You're actually giving space to it now to go. Because when we feel or judge something negatively happening in the body, we lock it into the body with resistance because the discomfort is bringing our attention to it, and that's how we end up energizing it. We energize it with a negative attitude. And now imagine what's going to happen if we just flip our mindset to the opposite. You know what? You're there, and then allowing it to run through you and out of you like a river. It really works. So I hope that helps for everyone else listening.
That helps definitely, I would say, and that's such a powerful reframe, I would say, because instead of shaming ourselves for disconnecting, we I mean, we can start to see like it as our body's way of protecting us, and uh, then also gently guiding ourselves back as well. So that's really powerful, I would say. Yeah, definitely.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah, and also like when people make that connection, right? Uh, does the awareness itself often begin the healing, or is awareness just the doorway to kind of the deep work?
You dropped out there just for a second. Can you repeat that
Oh,
sentence for me?
okay. So I'm just saying, like, when someone makes that connection, uh, so does the awareness itself begin the healing, or is just a kind of doorway for the deeper work?
So for me, awareness of the challenge, awareness of what is the message of that challenge? For me, that's 50% of the work done. Remember that awareness of a problem is a problem half solved. The other half is now just applying the right solution. That can be therapy. Maybe it's a change of diet. Maybe it's a change of environment. It can be anything for you. But that awareness for me, personally speaking, it might feel different for others. But when in my work, when I help people and including myself, for me, that's 50% of it. That's 50% of your healing because most people healings are delayed. It feels hard. It's like it's never ending because the awareness that they bring into what the challenge could be is fear-based and it's negative. Remember that negative mindset that you and I talked about earlier? Right? If we go in there, well, what is the problem? Well, the boy's going to go, oh, you want to see what's the problem? Oh my goodness, I have plenty. Here is more. And then
Yeah.
we sit with more issues before we know it. So it's really just about taking up, we're just taking a deep breath and just,
Mm.
okay, there's a challenge. I'm going to be curious. I choose to be curious about this. Let's see how I can balance this again. So it really comes back to your attitude towards the challenge as well.
What a lovely, what a lovely explanation, I'd say. And this really shows like how awareness isn't kind of abstract thing. It's very practical, even physical also.
Yeah.
Like, uh, I mean, when we see the root, the body often responds to the kind of surprising ways. So, yeah,
Mhm.
that's really amazing. Yep.
It's true.
Yeah, and like we are all aware that we are in the world which is, we say, the modern world, right? So um
Yeah.
so in today's time, like, our attention is very kind of, I would say, consistently hijacked. uh Obviously
Mhm.
the main thing is our mobile phones. The work
Right.
demands a lot of responsibilities, or I'd say uh, multiple jugglings. So, how can we train ourselves to bring that awareness back to what truly matters in our daily life? What do you suggest?
So this is where challenging that internal narrative can be a good thing, but again, not challenging it in a negative way. One thing that I had to really bring my focus back to was to realize and understand this thing that I'm panicking over. Sometimes I would get so stressed when I have to do something, and then I end up having to do it 3 times because I'm trying to rush to it. I'm feeling the panic, the urgency, the anxiety. And then I will pause and I'm like, Yvette, take a breath. Why does this feel so threatening? It's just an email that you need to write, or it's just a spreadsheet that you need to pull up and just get everything in order. Where's the threat?
Yeah.
And it's like I really had to just challenge my mind. Why are we feeling this panic? Nothing is chasing me. Nothing bad can happen. If this is not necessarily, maybe let's say hypothetically done on time.
Yep.
And I realized that it's really just old, stuck programs that kept running, right? These subconscious programs, because now let's say you want to do a new task. And in the past, when you completed a task, maybe your teacher yelled and screamed at you, or you got smacked by your parent because you didn't do it right, or you didn't listen to the instructions correctly. Now, when you sit down, your mind, it's a brand new environment. You feel fine, but now you want to do the task. You set your intention to doing the task, and your subconscious mind is, oh, okay, we're going to do a new task. We need to sit down and focus. Okay, great. Let's go and check in the past. How did we feel in the past when we had to sit down and focus? Because this is how we are wired. The subconscious mind is constantly digging into these old archives so that we can relate to our environment constantly. And now what is it going to do? Oh, last time when we sat down and we had to focus, do you remember that anxiety event? Do you remember that pain? Oh, here it is. Okay, so we need to remember this so that we can relate to this new task that we're about to do. Okay, voila. The subconscious mind doesn't understand that if it does that, it's going to sabotage the task that you are about to do. It doesn't have that intelligence. It's a very simple robotic. Let's check in. Let's relate. And you know what now happens? Every time when we try to sit down and we try to do a task, we can start to associate this old remnants of residues of old stress from the past, and we can subconsciously attach it to this new task that we would like to do. And then we bring that anxiety into a new task that we would like to do that's not threatening at all. There's not even anyone around you to affect you. I mean, the most cases, sometimes even that task is you who decided I'm going to do this. Not someone even who told you to do that, but the association has now been layered in. And that can be really frustrating because all that we feel is the stress. All that we feel is the fear. We don't sit there and think, well, does this anxiety feel similar to maybe last time I tried to do a task? What happened last time when I tried to do this? Oh, you know what? My teacher yelled at me and I felt so humiliated in front of the class. Okay, mind, body, thank you for that reminder, but it's not needed right now. I do not need it with this new task that I'm going to do. These two things are completely unrelated. But thank you for the reminder, but I choose not to entertain that. Right? Wouldn't that be ideal? That's really what we want, right? So this is coming back to the power of awareness. The power of awareness, because coming back to the breath,
Mm.
grounding, allowing the stress to be there. And then in that same space, what is really happening? Why is there pain? If your body is in pain, that's why you feel pain, right? So if you want that pain in your body to go away, well, let's address it,
Mm.
but with a solution oriented mindset. Because Avik, I know that you know this, and everyone else listening, you know this as well. Where there's darkness, there's light. Where there's joy, there's sadness. If there's a problem, there's a.
Solution.
Exactly. Exactly. The question is just how patient can you be to come back to your breath,
Mm.
come back to your awareness, and hear what that solution needs to be? What solution do I need to apply to my body and my mind right now so that I can get back on track? I always ask people, so what do you want? Do you want to hold on to the discomfort or do you want it to change? No, no, I want the discomfort to change. All right. So let's do something about it. Because some people complain just for the sake of complaining. I call that meowing. You know, have you ever seen a cat? The cat just meows. It's not hungry. It doesn't want to be touched. It just stands there and it's just being a nuisance. It's just meowing. Some people like to meow, right? And then some people complain, but it's to get that energy out. But they're complaining because they don't know what the solution is, but they're looking for a solution. They would happily grab the right solution if they could, right? So it's important to note, am I a go-getter or am I a meower? And if I'm meowing, have I meowed enough now so that I can take action and get my life back on track and feel actually happy and lasting happiness? That's a good question, isn't it? Someone once said to me, Yvette, how much pain do you need to be in before you make a change? And I said, I need to be pushed into a corner. I need to have a crisis before I make a change. And the person said to me, did you know that it can also just be by simple choice?
Mm.
And it's so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
We sometimes are addicted to the struggle because when we start to do when we want to complete tasks, we we're motivated by dopamine, right? It's like go go go, let's do it. Hey, here's a project, there's a goal, tick the boxes, tick the boxes. But sometimes things don't always go according to plan and we struggle a bit. But if that struggling goes on a little bit too long, what can happen is that the dopamine starts to be rewired and the dopamine is set off because along and associated with the struggle. That's why a lot of people end up sabotaging their goals. They did get just to that end, just to the end. They're almost there. And then they don't show up to a show or they don't show up to interview or they were just about to make a lot of money with a contract and then they had a fear and they, oh, no, 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 I'm going to do something else instead. There is always something that comes up and they just can't seem to get to the end. This is where struggle can actually become subconsciously the new dopamine reward as well. And neuroscience has shown that. So it's really important to look at when we look at awareness, coming back to your breath, are you maybe subconsciously glued on to struggle? This is really important because if that's the case, we need to start to change these dopamine these dopamine wiring in the mind. That's really, really important.
Yep.
And we can do that by simply celebrating simple tasks when it's done correct, meaning when you can have like mini goals instead of just having one big goal. So have smaller mini goals that is connected to one big goal so that you can start to learn how to celebrate the accomplishment of a task done successfully instead of getting stuck in the distress of it. When things go wrong, maybe you're out of money, maybe you have relationship problems, you know, it's hard not to bring other issues into our career or to bring issues from our career into our relationship, right? So these different issues that we have, they follow us like little shadows in all areas of our life. And sometimes when someone is doing their job, they great at their job, but they have relationship problems. They feel so depressed in their private life. Now that depression is being brought into their career, and that depression can now also be subconsciously associated and attached to their career and what they're doing. And before they know it, they stand up one day and they go, "Oh my God, I hate what I do." And the career is not part of the problem. Subconscious associations and patterning, as we call it in psychology, Avik, it is. It's it's tough because it happens so subtly. It's so sneaky. It's very sneaky. So I hope for everyone that helps.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Wow, what a lovely conversation, Dr. Evette Ivan. Thank you so much for this enlightening conversation. And I would say that you have shown us that the awareness is not just a concept, it's a lifeline, and it's a bridge between our pain, our healing, between the chaos and the clarity. And also, I really loved the point which you mentioned, like nothing is constant. I mean, if there,
Yeah.
uh, if there, negative time is going on, it it is sure that positive time is very nearby, and vice versa as well. The same thing, if there is a problem, obviously there is a solution. So I really love that
Mm.
it is the thing, and I have realized in my life as well. So this is very true and very effective. Yes. And
Right. Yeah.
yeah. And for the listeners, I'd love to say, like, I invite you to take just one step today, that notice, like, what your body is telling you and what truly matters in that moment. And also where you have been pulled away from yourself, because awareness is definitely the first act of coming home. So, uh, Dr. Evette, like, it's really an honor having you here. And if someone wants to connect with you, what would be the great medium?
Wonderful. So you can find me at metaphysicalanatomy.com or join me on Instagram at Dr. Evette Rose Official. And you can also go grab free ebook Restoring the Emotional Body, which is exactly what Avik and I talked about today. It's completely free. It's on my website under the books tab. Go grab your copy. It's free. And it also has a video guided healing session with it. So you can actually start your healing journey today.
Amazing. So, dear listeners, what I'll do is I'll put all these links and details, everything into the show notes for easy reference. And with this hope, until next time, stay present, stay compassionate, and also keep building your healthy mind and healthy life. So, thank you so much.